Hi, welcome to our first video. This is Apple. She's the star of the show. She comes in and does a cameo on all of our shows. She's a Chinese crested, which means she's hairless, so she's all skin. But she's going to just chill with us while I show you this new workshop that I'm looking at doing. Yeah. So what we're doing today is we're going to make paper flowers, like these ones here. But what I wanted to explain is that the different sizes of ones, like see this one here, this is actually made using a toilet roll. And the key concept is that the size of the petals that you use to make them should be about the same circumference as the top of the whatever you're using to make the flowers in. Now I've lost the hole punch for that one, so today we're going to do this one here. Now this is using, I've got a hole punchy machine, and this one here is going to use this cup here, and it's going to make a flower probably slightly smaller than this one here. But the same concept goes for making really big flowers. So like this one here, which is like huge, and this one, which is my pride and joy over here. Woo. I don't know if that's in the camera, but there you go. And so this ginormous one here was actually made using, I'm just going to put it down here on the ground, using a bucket, and these are the size of the petals. So as you can see, I've just drawn around the top of the bucket to make a really super big one. I'm just going to plug the glue gun in. And because we're using a glue gun, we might say goodbye to Apple for now. You say bye, because we don't want Apple to get glue gunned. Okay. So just, I'm going to cut some pages to show you. I normally do about 3 pages at a time, and these are just basically books that they give away at Red Cross. So they're basically free paper. And then I've got this machine that, actually I'll move these out of the way so we can see better. And it just punches the holes for us. And then when you open this, you can just pop them out. So they make perfect circles, but if you haven't got one of these, by all means, just put this on and draw around it and cut around it. I'll show you that too, which is like just as easy. I'd probably do a couple of sheets of paper at a time. And this is a good practice, because if you want to make a custom sized one, like that huge one that I did with the bucket, you're going to have, there's obviously not going to be a cutter the right size for that. And they don't even have to be perfect circles. I've seen it done with different shaped circles and heart shapes and all sorts of different things as well. So you can see how easy that is just to cut multiples at a time. To make a flower, we are going to need probably about 20 to 25. So we do need quite a few of them. And I'll show you why. So this is the cup that we're going to use. Now it's not a perfect match for these ones. These ones are slightly smaller, but it shouldn't actually make any real big difference in the end, because the concept's the same. Now I pre-fold these a little bit, and then I fold them around the top of the cup. Now the first layer that you're going to do, you're not actually going to put any glue on it, and the reason for this is that it's so easy to over glue the first layer, and then you'll stick it to the cup or to the toilet roll or to whatever it is you're using as your shaping, and then you're just going to, you know, have a bit of a mess. So do you see how I'm kind of like halfway folding over? So it is a bit messy, this first layer, because you have to hold it in place. See how it's going to pop out if it wants to. There you go. Okay. So that's your first layer. And it's a bit messy, but what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on it now. It might take a little while for it to heat up. It's not quite ready to go yet. Okay. Warm it all. See if it's plugged in. It's not turned on, which should explain why it's not getting hot. So I guess I'm going to have to wait a few minutes for that to heat up. But in the meantime, I can show you the different ones, so you can see the difference in sizes. Like And I did try to make some teeny tiny ones that I thought I could use as earrings, but whew, they were hard. This is probably, this and the toilet paper size are the two really easy ones to do. I'm just going to take that away while we wait for this to heat up. I might pre-fold some of these just to make it a bit easier. And it doesn't really matter, but I tend to like my text going this way, but you can do it whichever way you want. And also you can use lots of different types of papers, so you don't have to use recycled books. You could use wrapping paper. I'll show you some that I've done with you know, recycled wrapping paper, coloured paper. We've even dyed the books with food colourings. Okay, it's quite warm. So this one here, because I've done them 100 million times and I know not to over glue them, I'm going to glue as I go in this first layer. But remember, we can do that whole layer without gluing to make sure that we don't over glue. But because we're using that first layer, I'm being really careful that when I'm placing my glue, I'm placing it back from here so that it doesn't squish out and get onto the cup. Because if it gets up on the cup, what happens is when you come to release it from the cup, it will be stuck on the cup, and we don't want that. And I have stuck quite a few to cups in the past, so I can let you know that that's exactly how it will happen. Now I'm using hot glue, but you can do this with PVA glue as well. If you do it with PVA glue, you just have to pinch it a little bit longer when you get to, like, see how I'm positioning this on. If you're using PVA glue, I would kind of like hold each piece down and make sure it's like really well attached. But because hot glue is like instant, we don't have to worry too much about it. And then, so what I've got is I've got my whole first ring basically. And so now when I put the glue on, I'm going to put it just on the little joins. So we'll see how that one is joining over to the next one. I'm going to put my glue there. And then I'm going to grab another one and I'm going to put that halfway over so that where the glue is in the center of that petal. And then I just keep going. And that's why I'm saying we need 20 to 25 of these round shapes. I might have used a few more actually in that giant one that I showed you earlier, because I think as you get bigger it needs to be fluffier. And you just keep adding. And just like magic, we have most of our petals on there. So, but I wanted to come back and show you this next stage. So you see how there's a hole in the center there? We want to avoid that hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to come along with our glue gun, exactly like we were doing before. We're putting a little bit of glue across there. But instead of putting it halfway over, we're going to sort of put like 2/3 of the way into the center. And then what that's going to do is that's actually going to like fill in that little hole in the center. So once again, we've got like sort of 1/3 on the outside and 2/3 on the inside. So as you can kind of see. And we do that all the way around. And hopefully you can kind of see how that's kind of filled in the center. Now the other thing you can do, and you don't have to, but the other thing we can do is we can do the same, but actually the opposite. So we put 1/3 inside and 2/3 outside. And what that's going to do is that's going to make your flower bigger. So it's going to be more fluffier and fuller. And then we do the same thing where we go right around, overlapping halfway as we go. Now you could also do these with different colours, so like you could do like a yellow centre and sort of like orange or red coming out to the sides. So we might do a few more different videos doing them with some different colour combinations for you as well. Okay, so you can see how I've gone all the way around the outside, and that's created a bigger petal base. Now this other thing, this is something that I haven't seen people do before, but I just cut a piece of cardboard out of like a cereal box or whatever, but I cut it bigger than my petal. So you see how it's quite a bit bigger, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue that onto there, and I feel like it just gives a much more kind of stable base. So funny, these ones, oh yeah, there you go. Okay, and then we're just going to go right around with the glue. And you can colour that in as well. It doesn't have to be, you know, horrible thing. And then I put a bit of pressure on it. Oh, burning myself with the hot glue. That's not so cool. A little bit of pressure of it. And then when I'm doing them with PVA glue, I count to 30 before I take my hand off it. But because this is hot glue, it's, you know, you're guaranteed to make it stay. And then it's as simple as just moving this. So I'm like just wiggling this a little bit to kind of get it free, and then popping it out. And then we have the most coolest rose ever. And then there'll be little strings of glue, you just pull those off. But yeah, isn't that beautiful? Okay, and then when you get really, really addicted, you're going to end up with millions of them, as you can see here. And then we've got ones that are made for magazine pages. These ones are book pages that we have put like colours on. There's a red one over here, kind of a Christmassy type one. And then I actually made a bouquet of them. So these ones I've actually just put on wires. Now this one I made with Christmas paper. And then as you can see, I've put like a wire on the back of it. But yeah, so that's Christmas paper. So, you know, all of that wasted paper after you've unwrapped your presents, put it aside and make Christmas flowers. And you can see how easily they go on a little wire. And then we can stick them in a thing. And then we've got, oh yeah, these are the magazine ones. Awesome. So if you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe. And if you've got any questions, please just drop them in the questions section. I'm here to help. But yeah, we're going to be making a few more different style flowers in the weeks to come. So subscribe so you don't miss out. Cool.